What if I told you that your life, everything you are, everything you have, and everything you will ever be, is a direct reflection of something you control completely? Not your circumstances, not your boss, not your family, not the economy, something inside you, something you carry with you, every single second of every single day. Your thoughts. This isn't some new age mantra. This is a timeless secret, a fundamental law of our being, captured over a century ago in a small book that has quietly changed millions of lives. Welcome to As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. And this isn't just an audiobook. This is a workshop for your mind. Let's begin. The title of this book comes from a single powerful line in the book of Proverbs. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Let's break that down. It doesn't say, as a man wishes, so is he. Or, as a man hopes, so is he. It says, as a man thinks. The very act of your thinking, the character of your thoughts, literally forges the person you are. Think about it this way. Your mind is like a garden. You are the master gardener. Every single day, you can either cultivate this garden or you can neglect it. You can sow seeds of beautiful flowers, thoughts of courage, success, happiness, and love. You can water them, care for them, and watch them blossom into the reality of your life. A life of purpose and joy. Or you can let the weeds take over. And those weeds grow effortlessly, don't they? Seeds of fear, doubt, jealousy, and self-pity. If you do nothing, they will choke out all the beauty, leaving you with a tangled mess of a life you never wanted. The universe doesn't discriminate. The soil of your mind will grow whatever you plant, or whatever you allow to fall into it. It will produce beautiful flowers, or it will produce toxic weeds. It's your choice. You are the gardener. Let me tell you a quick story. Imagine two architects, Sarah and Tom. They're both given the exact same project: build a house on a beautiful plot of land with unlimited resources. Tom is plagued by doubt. He constantly thinks, what if the foundation is weak? What if my designs are mocked? What if I'm not good enough? His thoughts are of limitation and failure. So he designs a small, timid, uninspired house. He uses cheap materials because he's afraid of wasting the good ones. His creation is a physical monument to his own fear. Now Sarah, she stands on that same plot of land and thinks, this will be a masterpiece, a sanctuary, a home that will stand for 100 years. Her thoughts are of strength, beauty, and possibility. She designs a magnificent structure filled with light and space. She uses the finest materials with confidence because her thoughts told her the outcome was already a success. Same land, same resources. Two completely different realities. Why? Because the blueprint wasn't on paper. The blueprint was in their minds. You are both the architect and the builder of your life. Every thought is a blueprint. Every action is a brick. And your character, the very person you are today, is the house you've built. If you live in a house of pain and fear, it's because you have been drawing up blueprints of painful and fearful thoughts. If you live in a mansion of peace and strength, well, you know how you built it. The good news? You can start renovating right now. You can tear down the old walls of negativity and draft a new blueprint today. Most of us believe that thought is this secret private thing, that we can think ugly thoughts without any real consequence. But James Allen reveals the truth. Your thoughts are never secret. They crystallize. They solidify into habits, and habits solidify into circumstances. Your anxiety? It started as a tiny seed of worried thought. Your success in your career? It started with a thought of ambition and competence that you watered day after day. The outer world of your circumstance is shaped by the inner world of your thought. Think of a struggling musician practicing in her garage for years. Nobody is listening. Nobody cares. But in her heart, in her thoughts, she's playing to a sold-out stadium. She feels the energy. She believes in her music. She thinks like a rock star. That persistent thought drives her to practice, to write, to get better. Until one day, the circumstance of the sold-out stadium becomes a reality. It had to. It was simply the outside world finally catching up to her inner one. Sickness and health, poverty and riches, misery and happiness. These are not random events. They are the direct results of our dominant ways of thinking. You are not a creature of circumstance. You are the creator of your circumstance. So, in the chapters that follow, we're not just going to read. We are going to learn how to wield this incredible power. How to become the master gardener, the master architect. The journey begins with a single radical idea that by changing your thoughts, you will inevitably change your life. We ended the introduction with a huge promise. Change your thoughts, and you will change your life. But how? Where does it even begin? It begins with the most fundamental thing about you. The one thing you take with you everywhere, into every room, every conversation, every success, and every failure. Your character. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, where does my character actually come from? Am I just born this way? Am I a product of my upbringing, or is it something I've built? Welcome to Chapter 1, Thought and Character. James Allen starts with a statement so bold it can change everything. He says, "The act of thinking is to the character what the act of sewing is to a garment." Think about that. Imagine your mind is a master weaver sitting at a giant loom. Every single thought you have is a thread of patience, a thread of anger, a thread of ambition, a thread of fear. With every thought, you are weaving these threads into a larger fabric. This fabric is your character. Day by day, moment by moment, you are stitching together the very person you are. A noble character isn't a thing of chance or favor. It's the natural result of continued effort in right thinking. It's the crown jewel of a mind that has been disciplined. On the flip side, a dishonorable and sour character is the result of harboring groveling, selfish, and impure thoughts. You are not a puppet. You are the master weaver. You choose the threads. So, let me ask you, what kind of garment are you weaving for yourself today? The blacksmith of the soul. Let's make this even clearer. Picture a blacksmith, standing in the heat of his forge. He wants to create a strong, sharp, perfectly balanced sword. Does he just pick up a lump of iron and start hammering randomly? Of course not. First, he has a crystal-clear thought in his mind. He sees the sword. He knows its shape, its weight, its purpose. Only then does he take the iron, heat it in the fire, and begin to hammer. Every strike of the hammer is guided by that initial thought. The fire, the sweat, the noise, it's all just the process of turning a thought into a thing. You are that blacksmith. Your mind is the forge. Your thoughts are the blueprint. And your life circumstances. That's the lump of iron you've been given. You can forge that iron into a magnificent sword, or you can carelessly hammer it into a useless, twisted piece of metal. The iron doesn't care. The hammer doesn't care. The only thing that matters is the thought that guides the strike. Man is made or unmade by himself. In the armory of thought, he forges the weapons by which he can destroy himself, or he can fashion the tools with which he builds for himself. Heavenly mansions of joy and strength and peace. The power is in the thought. Mindset of a champion. Think about any elite performer. A world-class athlete, a groundbreaking CEO, a legendary artist. Take a record-breaking sprinter. Sure, they have physical talent, but so do thousands of other athletes. What's the difference? The champion's real work happens long before they step onto the track. It happens in their mind. While others are thinking about the competition, the champion is thinking about the perfect start. They are visualizing themselves, crossing the finish line. They are cultivating thoughts of power, discipline, and victory. They refuse to let a single thread of doubt into the garment of their character. Their body simply follows the commands of their mind. Their external victory is just a reflection of their internal one. They didn't just stumble into being a champion. They thought their way there. They deliberately chose the threads of excellence and wove them into a character so strong that winning became the only possible outcome. This isn't just for champions. This is a universal law. You can't travel within and stand still without. The thoughts you protect, nurture, and grow in your mind will eventually blossom into your reality. So let's stop here and reflect. The person you are right now, your patience, your temper, your ambition, your kindness, it is the sum total of all the thoughts you have ever chosen to think. You are not a victim of your personality. You are its creator. And if you want to change the person you are, you don't start by changing your actions. You start by changing the one thing that powers everything else. You start by changing your thoughts. In the next chapter, we'll explore how this inner world of thought directly impacts the outer world of your circumstances. Get ready. Chapter 2. Effect of Thought on Circumstances. The Garden and the Gardener. Let's go back to that garden we talked about, the garden of your mind. Now imagine you've neglected this garden for years. You didn't actively plant weeds, but you didn't pull them out either. Seeds of doubt, fear, and indecision were carried in on the wind, and you let them take root. Now you look at your life, your circumstances, and you see a tangled mess of weeds. You see missed opportunities, frustrating results, and a lack of growth. You can curse the soil, you can curse the rain, you can curse the wind for bringing the seeds, or you can look at the gardener. James Allen says your circumstances grow out of your thoughts as surely as a plant grows from a seed. They are not separate. One creates the other. Every thought seed you plant or allow to fall into your mind and take root there produces its own kind. Good thoughts bear good fruit. Bad thoughts bear bad fruit. Think about it. The person who is constantly thinking thoughts of fear and worry creates a life of fearful and worried circumstances. They become timid. They hesitate. They attract the very things they're afraid of. The person who is constantly thinking thoughts of courage, capability, and purpose builds a life of success and achievement. They take calculated risks. They inspire trust. They see opportunities where others see obstacles. Your outer world is a mirror of your inner world. You cannot have a beautiful garden on the outside if you are cultivating weeds on the inside. Let me tell you a story of the two. Entrepreneurs imagine two people, Alex and Ben, starting similar online businesses. They have the same skills, the same market, the same opportunities. Alex's mind is a breeding ground for thoughts of scarcity and doubt. He thinks, the market is too competitive. No one will pay my prices. What if I fail? These thoughts cause him to act defensively. He hesitates on launching new products. He undercharges for his services because he doesn't think he's worth it. His business struggles, he barely scrapes by, and he says, "See, I told you it was impossible." His circumstances are the perfect harvest of the seeds he planted. Now let's look at Ben. Ben's mind is focused on thoughts of opportunity and value. He thinks, I have a unique skill that people need. Every challenge is a learning experience. I will provide so much value that success is inevitable. These thoughts cause him to act with confidence. He invests in his business. He charges a premium price because he believes in his value. He builds strong relationships with clients, and his business thrives. He says, wow, the hard work paid off. Was it just hard work? Or was the hard work fueled and directed by a specific way of thinking? Both men ended up in circumstances that were a perfect match for their inner state. One created a prison of limitation, the other created a palace of possibility, the purpose of suffering. Now, this is the part where some people get confused. They say, "So you're telling me I chose to suffer? I chose to be in this terrible situation?" And the answer is, not consciously. But suffering is not a punishment. It is a result. James Allen puts it perfectly. Suffering is always the effect of wrong thought in some direction. It's an indicator that you are out of harmony with yourself, with the law of your own being. Think of it like touching a hot stove. The pain you feel isn't a punishment. It's a lesson. It's your body screaming, "Hey, what you are doing is causing damage. Stop it." Suffering is your soul's way of telling you that your thoughts are burning you. The bitterness you feel, the anxiety that keeps you up at night, the anger that poisons your relationships. It's all a signal fire, telling you that the thoughts you are holding on to are destructive. The moment you learn the lesson, the moment you begin to purify your mind and change your thoughts, the suffering begins to dissolve. You remove your hand from the stove. You are not meant to be a victim. You are meant to be a student, and your circumstances are your greatest teacher. They are showing you with perfect clarity what is going on inside your own mind. So, instead of resisting your circumstances, read them. What are they trying to tell you about your thoughts? A man does not attract what he wants, but what he is. He is the sum of his thoughts. So, if you want to change your circumstances, stop trying to manipulate the outside world. Go inside, weed the garden, change the thought, and the fruit will change itself. Chapter 3. Effect of Thought on Health and the Body. In the last chapter, we dropped a bombshell. Your circumstances are a perfect mirror of your inner thoughts. You're not the victim of your life. You are its creator. Now we're going to take this a step further and get way more personal. We're going to talk about the one thing you live in every single day, the one thing you see in the mirror, your body. Ever get a splitting headache after a day full of arguments? Or that sick, knotted feeling in your stomach before a big presentation? What if I told you that's not a coincidence? What if your body is literally listening to and obeying your thoughts? A quick disclaimer. Before we dive in, let's be crystal clear. This is not about replacing professional medical advice. If you are sick or unwell, please see a doctor. This is about understanding the powerful, undeniable link between the state of your mind and the natural well-being of your body. The servant and the master James Allen lays it out simply. The body is the servant of the mind. Think about that. Your body is not the boss. It doesn't decide on its own to be sick or healthy. It responds. It follows orders. And who gives the orders? You do. With your thoughts. Let's reframe this. Your mind is the CEO in the command center. Your body is the incredibly complex, loyal factory that carries out every single memo sent down from the head office. If the CEO is constantly sending out memos of panic, fear, anxiety, and stress, what happens to the factory? The machinery goes haywire. Systems break down. The entire operation becomes inefficient and chaotic. In the body, this chaos manifests as disease and sickness. But if the CEO sends out memos of calm, efficiency, joy, and goodwill, the factory runs like a well-oiled machine. Everything is in harmony. Everything works. This state of harmony is what we call health. Diseased thoughts will express themselves through a diseased body. Thoughts of fear have been known to kill a man as surely as a bullet, and day after day, millions of people are killing themselves, just slower, with thoughts of jealousy, bitterness, anger, and disappointment. On the other side, strong, pure, and happy thoughts build up the body in vigor and grace. The tale of two desks. Imagine two people, Sarah and Tom, working in the same high-pressure office. Tom's desk is his battle station. He thinks constantly about how unfair his workload is, how annoying his boss is, how much he dreads Mondays. His mind is a storm of resentment and anxiety, and his body listens. Tom is plagued by tension headaches. He has digestive problems from the constant stress. He's always tired, his shoulders are hunched, and his face is etched with a permanent frown. He's aging fast. His body is simply creating a physical home for his miserable thoughts. Now let's look at Sarah, at the desk right next to him. She faces the same pressure, but she chooses a different internal world. She cultivates thoughts of gratitude for her job. She sees challenges as puzzles to be solved. She practices forgiveness with her annoying boss. Her mind is a place of calm and purpose, and her body listens. Sarah is full of energy. Her posture is open and relaxed. Her skin is clear. Her eyes are bright. She rarely gets sick. People say she has a glow about her. Her body is a temple built from thoughts of peace and joy. Same office, same stress. Two wildly different physical realities. Why? Because the body doesn't care about your office. It only cares about the commands coming from your mind. The ultimate anti-aging secret people spend fortunes on creams, diets, and surgeries to fight off the effects of time, but they walk around with ugly, hateful, and depressed thoughts. James Allen reveals the truth. The real fountain of youth isn't in a bottle. It's in your mind. He says, if you would protect your body, guard your mind. If you would renew your body, beautify your mind. Thoughts of malice, envy, and disappointment literally break down the body's health. They are poisons that sour your blood and decay your nerves. But a cheerful spirit, thoughts of goodwill, laughter, these are the real healers. A mind filled with peace and serenity is the greatest doctor of all. You've seen this. You know an elderly person who is more vibrant and alive than someone half their age. Look into their eyes. You will see a mind that has been cultivated with thoughts of kindness, forgiveness, and joy for a lifetime. Their body is simply reflecting their beautiful mind. To get rid of sickness, you need to get rid of impure and negative thoughts. Change your mental diet, and your body will follow. So, look in the mirror. Your body is telling you a story. It's telling you about the thoughts you've been choosing. Are you ready to start telling a new story? Chapter 4. Thought and Purpose. We've talked about how your thoughts shape your character, how they create your circumstances, how they even influence your physical health. But what directs the thoughts themselves? What gives them power? Let me ask you a question. Have you ever had one of those days that turns into a week, that turns into a year, where you just feel like you're drifting, going through the motions, reacting to emails, notifications, and other people's demands, but never really feeling like you're the one steering? What if I told you that drifting is the single most dangerous state a person can be in? The ship without a rudder, James Allen, gives us a powerful and frankly terrifying image. He says that a person without a purpose for their life is like a ship without a rudder. Think about that. A magnificent ship, strong, powerful, capable of crossing any ocean on Earth, but it has no rudder, no compass, no destination programmed into its navigation. What happens to that ship? It doesn't just float peacefully. The currents of life, the winds of chaos, the tides of circumstance, slam it against the rocks. The first big storm breaks it apart. It becomes a derelict, a wreck, a monument to wasted potential. A person without a central purpose is that ship. They become a magnet for petty worries, fears, troubles, and self-pity, all of which are signs of weakness, and all of which lead directly to failure, unhappiness, and loss. You cannot steer a ship that has no destination. You cannot direct thoughts that have no central purpose. Until thought is linked with purpose, there is no intelligent accomplishment. The tale of two paths lets make this real. Imagine two friends, Maya and David, who graduate with the same degree. Maya has no defined purpose. She's smart and capable, but she just wants to see what happens. She takes a job she doesn't really like because it pays the bills. She gets distracted by shiny objects, a new online course one month, a get-rich-quick scheme the next. She's easily swayed by her friends' opinions. 5 years go by and Maya is filled with anxiety and a deep sense of failure, surrounded by half-finished projects and a feeling that she's wasted her best years. She's the ship, smashed against the rocks of doubt and indecision. Now look at David. On graduation day, David sets a clear, simple purpose. He writes it down. I will become a sought-after expert in my field within 5 years. This purpose becomes his compass. It's his North Star. When a job offer comes that doesn't align with his goal, he has the strength to say no. When his friends want to go out partying the night before a big certification exam, his purpose keeps him focused. He uses his free time to read, to network, to build his skills, not because he has more willpower than Maya, but because his purpose directs his thoughts and actions. When he faces setbacks and doubts, his purpose is the anchor that holds him steady. 5 years later, David is exactly what he set out to be. He's not a wreck. He's a vessel that has arrived at its port. The difference was not talent. The difference was purpose. Set a mighty goal, so you need to have a purpose. And you need to make it the central, organizing principle of your thoughts. Your purpose can be anything. It can be a worldly goal, to build a business, to master a craft. Or it can be a spiritual one, to become a more patient and compassionate human being. Whatever it is, you must set it. Place it at the heart of your mind. And don't be afraid to make it a big one. A lofty one. James Allen says you should make your purpose your supreme duty and devote yourself to attaining it. Let nothing draw you away. Look at the people who have changed the world. Their purpose wasn't small. It was huge, almost impossibly grand. That massive purpose acted like a gravitational force, pulling all of their thoughts and energies into alignment. Once you have your purpose, it becomes the ultimate filter. It becomes the bouncer at the door of your mind. When the thoughts of doubt and fear show up, your purpose stands at the door and says, "Sorry, you're not on the list. We're busy building something important here." It allows you to calm your fears, to silence your doubts, and to transform your thoughts from scattered, weak whispers into a focused, powerful, creative force. This is the path from being a drifter to becoming a master of your own destiny. Find your port, set your compass, and direct the powerful ship of your mind towards it. The ocean of life yields to the person who knows where they are going. Chapter 5. The Thought Factor in Achievement. So far, we've learned that thought shapes your character, your circumstances, and your health. We've learned that a life without purpose is a ship without a rudder, destined to crash. Now, we get to the big one, the one everyone is chasing: achievement, success, victory. We live in a world that worships the hustle, the grind. We're told that the secret to achieving anything is to just work harder than everyone else. But look around. Is the person who works the hardest always the most successful? Is the person who sacrifices the most always the one who wins? Not even close, because there is a hidden factor, a silent, invisible force that directs all action and determines all results. The iceberg of success. Let's get one thing straight. All that a person achieves and all that they fail to achieve is the direct result of their own thoughts, not luck, not chance, not circumstance. Thought. Achievement is like an iceberg. The world only sees the 10% that's above the water, the success, the wealth, the awards, the recognition, but they don't see the 90% below the surface. The massive, solid foundation holding it all up. And what is that foundation made of? It's made of thought. Years of focused, disciplined thinking. Thousands of hours of aligning your mind with your purpose. It's made of all the private battles you won against doubt, fear, and laziness in your own head, long before you ever saw a public victory. You can work as hard as you want, but if the thoughts underneath are weak, scattered, and negative, your iceberg will melt before it ever sees the light of day. A man can only rise, conquer, and achieve by lifting up his thoughts. He can only remain weak and miserable by refusing to lift up his thoughts. The thinker versus the dreamer. Now, this is not about sitting on your couch and just dreaming of $1 million. James Allen draws a hard line between the dreamer and the thinker. The dreamer is an idler. They live in a fantasy world of wishful thinking. They want the prize, but they are unwilling to do the work or make the sacrifices. The thinker is an architect. The thinker creates a clear mental blueprint. They have a vision, a purpose, a legitimate ideal in their mind. And then they get to work. They begin to build. They understand that their thoughts are the plan and their actions are the construction crew. One without the other is useless. Action without thought is chaos. Thought without action is just a dream. But when you combine a powerful, focused thought with determined, intelligent action, you become an unstoppable force. You become the creator of your world. Hustle Harry versus Strategic Sarah. Let's imagine two aspiring content creators, Harry and Sarah. Harry is all about the hustle. He works 16 hours a day, posting dozens of times, chasing every new trend. He's constantly busy, constantly grinding. But his thoughts are a mess. He's driven by thoughts of envy for other creators. He's impatient, looking for a shortcut. He has no clear, long-term vision. His action is frantic and thoughtless, and his channel goes nowhere. He burns out, blaming the algorithm. Now look at Sarah. Sarah works smart. She spends a huge chunk of her time just thinking, who am I trying to reach? What unique value can I provide? What is my purpose with this channel? Her thoughts are clear, focused, and strategic. Because her thoughts are organized, her actions are powerful. Every piece of content she creates is a deliberate step towards her goal. She isn't just throwing things at the wall, she's building a cathedral, brick by brick. And her channel grows into a massive success. The world sees Sarah's success and calls it luck. But it wasn't luck. It was the inevitable result of thought-powered achievement. She won the war in her mind first. The price of the prize. And here is the final, non-negotiable law of achievement. There is no success without sacrifice. You cannot have it all. To get the thing you truly want, you must be willing to give up the things that are holding you back. Think of the founders of a world-changing company. To achieve their goal, they had to sacrifice lazy weekends. They had to sacrifice expensive distractions. They had to sacrifice their own ego and listen to feedback. Most importantly, they had to sacrifice trivial, scattered thoughts for one all-consuming obsession. This isn't a punishment. It's a conscious trade. You trade your fleeting comforts for your lasting achievement. You trade your weakness for your strength. The universe does not play favorites. It operates on a perfect system of cause and effect. It will give you anything you ask for, but it will demand that you pay the price. And the price is always paid with your thoughts, your actions, and your sacrifices. So look at your goals. Look at your achievements. They are not random. They are the harvest you have grown from the seeds of thought you have planted. If you want a different harvest, you know what you have to do. You have to plant different seeds. Chapter 6. Visions and Ideals. What was the last thing you truly dreamed of? I don't mean when you were asleep. I mean when you were wide awake, staring out a window or stuck in traffic. That secret, cherished vision you hold in your heart for a better life, a more beautiful world, a better you. We're often told to be realistic, to put those dreams away, that they're just childish fantasies. But what if they're not? What if your visions and ideals are not just fantasies? What if they are prophecies? Prophecies of the person you have the potential to become. the saviors of the world. The dreamers are the saviors of the world. Think about that. Every single thing that makes our lives better today, every invention, every piece of art, every leap forward for humanity, existed first as a dream in someone's mind. The world is beautiful because dreamers have lived. The world can often be ugly and cruel, but it's the dreamer, the visionary, who holds on to a vision of a better reality that keeps the hope of humanity alive. He who cherishes a beautiful vision, a lofty ideal in his heart, will one day realize it. Columbus cherished a vision of another world, and he discovered it. Copernicus fostered the vision of a multitude of worlds and a wider universe, and he revealed it. You are no different. To cherish your vision, to cherish your ideals, is to build your world, the sculptor and the stone. Imagine you are a sculptor. In front of you is a giant, shapeless block of marble. That marble is your life as it is right now, your current circumstances. But in your mind, you hold a vision. You can see a magnificent statue trapped within that stone, a statue of the person you want to be, living the life you want to live. What do? You pick up your chisel and hammer, your thoughts and your actions, and you begin to chip away at everything that isn't the statue. You chip away the stone of doubt. You chip away the stone of laziness. You chip away the stone of fear. For a long time, it's hard work. It's messy. And to the outside world, it still just looks like a shapeless block of stone. They might even mock you for it. But you never lose sight of the vision. You hold the ideal of that perfect statue in your heart, and if you keep chipping day after day, you will eventually reveal the masterpiece that was secretly there all along. This is what James Allen means when he says, "As you dream, so shall you become." Your vision is the promise of what you shall one day be. Your ideal is the prophecy of what you shall at last unveil. From the dirt to the stars. Let me tell you a story you already know, but maybe in a different way. Imagine a young writer struggling in poverty, a single parent with no prospects, feeling like a complete failure. Her circumstances are cold, harsh, and unforgiving. But in her mind, she holds a vision, a world of magic, a school for wizards, a boy with a lightning scar, and a story of incredible courage. This vision is more real to her than her empty bank account. It's warmer than her cold apartment. It's her secret sanctuary, she writes. She gets rejected, not once, not twice, but over and over again. The world tells her, this is worthless, give up, be realistic. But she doesn't listen to the world. She listens to the vision. She cherishes her ideal. She protects that magical world in her heart with every ounce of her being. And because she held on to that vision when her reality was bleak, millions, now billions of us get to live in that magical world too. She didn't start with success. She started with a dream. It doesn't matter what your circumstances are today. The oak tree sleeps in the acorn. The bird waits in the egg. And in the highest vision of your soul, a waking angel stirs. Dreams are the seedlings of realities. The greatest tragedy, and so we arrive at the most important warning in this entire book. To let your vision die, to let your ideals fade, is the greatest tragedy of all. If you stop dreaming, you stop living. You become like a ship that has lost its North Star, drifting in the dark, destined for nowhere. So, I'm asking you right now, what is your vision? What is the lofty ideal that stirs in your heart? Don't you dare let it go. Protect it. Cherish it. Nurture it. Calamity cannot crush it. Sickness cannot weaken it. Poverty cannot kill it. If you refuse to let it die, your circumstances may be uncongenial, but they shall not remain so if you only perceive an ideal and strive to reach it. You cannot travel within and stand still without. Dream lofty dreams, because as you dream, so shall you become. Chapter 7. Serenity. What was the first thing you felt this morning? Did you grab your phone and immediately feel a jolt of anxiety from a news alert? A rush of stress from a work email? Our world is addicted to chaos. It screams for our attention, 24/7. It rewards outrage, amplifies fear, and thrives on urgency. We are constantly being pushed and pulled by forces outside of ourselves, leaving us feeling stressed, agitated, and powerless. But what if the greatest achievement, the ultimate success, the most profound power you could ever possess is the power to be calm? Welcome to the final and most important chapter. The Jewel of Wisdom. James Allen calls calmness of mind one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. Think about that. Not a byproduct of wisdom, not a side effect. It is the jewel itself. Imagine, your mind is a deep lake. For most people, the surface of that lake is in a constant storm. The winds of other people's opinions, the rain of daily anxieties, the choppy waves of urgent demands. The water is murky, and you can't see a thing. This is a life lived in reaction and confusion. But a serene mind is a deep, still lake. On a clear day, the surface is like glass. The water is crystal clear. You can see all the way to the bottom. This clarity, this is where wisdom lives. This is where truth is found. The person who has cultivated serenity is no longer a slave to circumstance. They are a master of themselves. They are the calm eye in the center of the storm. The two leaders. Let's see this in action. Imagine a crisis. Hits a company. A major project fails. One manager, Frank, immediately panics. His mind is a chaotic storm. His thoughts are of blame, fear, and catastrophe. He runs around the office, his voice filled with frantic energy. He makes rash decisions. He sends angry emails. He creates more chaos and makes the problem 10 times worse. His agitated mind is a breeding ground for disaster. Now let's look at another manager, Susan, facing the same crisis. She feels the initial shock, but then she gets still. She quiets the storm in her mind. She breathes. From that place of inner calm, she asks, what is the wise next step? Because she is calm, she can think clearly. She can see the solution that Frank's panic completely blinded him to. She speaks to her team with a quiet, reassuring authority. She takes deliberate, intelligent action. She solves the problem. People look at her and say, she's a great leader. She has nerves of steel. No, she has something far more powerful. She has serenity. She has mastered her own mind, and so she can master any situation. The strongest person is not the one who makes the most noise. It's the one who can remain centered in the middle of chaos. An earned peace. This kind of calmness is not a gift. It's not something you're born with. It is the result of long and patient effort in self-control. It is the crowning achievement of a disciplined mind. You have to earn it. You earn it every time you choose a peaceful thought over an angry one. You earn it every time you refuse to be swept away by petty annoyances. You earn it every time you meet a storm in the world with stillness in your soul. The more tranquil a person becomes, the greater is their success, their influence, their power for good. The great masters and teachers throughout history all had this quality. The image of a Buddha, perfectly still. The story of Christ, calming the seas. That story isn't just about a physical storm. It's a metaphor. The person who has achieved self-mastery can bring peace to any storm, inside or out. They have learned to govern themselves, and so they are fit to govern the universe of their lives. The final lesson, and so, we arrive at the end of our journey together. We've traveled from the seed of a single thought, to the character it creates, to the circumstances it manifests, to the health it governs, to the purpose it directs, to the achievements it builds, to the visions it dreams, and it all leads here, to this final, quiet truth. The ultimate goal isn't just wealth or success or even health. It is a state of being. It is serenity, a calm mind, a peaceful heart, a life lived in poised power. This is the central teaching of As a Man Thinketh. To become the master of your thoughts is to finally, truly find peace. Self-control is strength. Right thought is mastery. Calmness is power. Thank you for your time, for your attention, and for allowing these powerful ideas to enter your mind. We truly hope this journey has sparked something within you. Creating this audiobook was a labor of love. We didn't want to just read a century-old text. Our mission was to breathe new life into James Allen's timeless wisdom and make it resonate. In our chaotic modern world, every chapter was carefully rescripted, not just to be heard, but to be felt. We spent days finding the right stories, the perfect modern examples, and the most powerful analogies, like the architect, the two entrepreneurs, and the ship without a rudder, to make these profound concepts stick with you long after you're done listening. Our goal was to create more than just an audiobook. We wanted to create a toolkit for your mind, a series you can come back to anytime you feel lost, need inspiration, or just want to remember the incredible power you hold within your own thoughts. And now, we have a small favor to ask of you. If this series has helped you in any way, if it has shifted your perspective, calmed your mind, or sparked a new vision for your life, please help us spread this message. First, take a moment to like or leave a positive rating. It helps more than you know.